What if I told you that fear is not your enemy? That it's not here actually to stop you, but to guide you, maybe to alert you. Most of the time, we don't even realize that fear is running our lives, keeping us stuck, small, and really repeating the same cycles. But today, I'm going to show you how to break free from fear and how to rewrite your story. Fear is powerful. It controls our decisions, our relationships, and even our dreams. And the worst part is most of our fears aren't even about the present moment. They come from our past, old wounds, old conditioning, stories that were really handed to us, but don't have to define us anymore. The good news, you have the power to rewrite them. And in this video, I will show you how. Before we dive in, go ahead and comment below what's one fear that keeps showing up in your life. Awareness is really the first step to shifting it. We want to know thyself. Who are you? Can you answer that for yourself? There we go. So first step, understanding why our fear holds our power. So fear is a survival response, but most of what we fear isn't actually life-threatening. It's emotional. Fear of failure, rejection, not being good enough, all comes from past experiences where we did not feel safe. So of course it's going to be there. We don't want to repeat that. So we fear the chance of the experience repeating itself. And the mind takes those experiences and turns it into a rule. If this happened before, I need to avoid it happening again. To the point that when we're looking at body code or energy work, we see these patterns as even idea intolerances or even idea allergies, where we'll have a physical reaction right down to even having hives. And we'll think it needs to be something from the environment in terms of food or smell, although often smells and that can come with them. But it may be even just that there's something that looks very, very similar to what we've experienced in the past. We could have a situation in our marriage where it's not looking like marriage is safe anymore. Subconscious mind creates an idea intolerance or allergy to marriage, to those types of relationships. And we can start seeing responses come into our bodies. We shut down, we get tired, we become distracted. All the same things as you would see within a physical, like a food intolerance or something else. And then on top of that, we can also gain an allergy or intolerance to somebody's perfume or cologne for a similar reason. We've seen it in the book, What Happened to You by Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Perry. They talked about the smell of Old Spice with this young boy, where that was the deodorant that his dad wore, the aftershave that his dad used. And later on, any time that he smelled Old Spice, he thought that that man hated him or was going to attack him, and it was linked to the smell. And so this is what can happen for us here as well. And so the fear is triggered out by the smell, not wanting the past to repeat itself in that boy. And the same thing can happen to us. I had a similar trauma come up as a young girl, and a specific body odor of a man. And so as I grew up and some of my cousins who I loved started having similar smells, I couldn't stand them hugging or touching me. And so once I understood where this was coming from, that it was actually the smell and why that was my trigger, then it was something for me to actively start being able to let go of, to heal that. And knowledge is absolutely the first step to us being able to release that fear. So my question to you as we move forward is, where in your life are you avoiding something because of an old fear? In my case, I even avoided hugging one of my cousins for years and years and years because it triggered this old fear that I'd blocked as a childhood trauma. So it could be even a childhood experience of being laughed at while speaking, which turns into a phobia of public speaking now as an adult. We see that quite a bit. So where in your life is an old fear holding you back from who you want to be in your life? And then the second step is to identify the story that is linked with it. So not only will there be that first experience, but then there's also a story that comes into it. And so it'll repeat itself a bit like a loop. So if you don't question it, it kind of becomes your truth. So if you think of the fear first, then we want to ask, when did I start having this? So for many of us, if we've blocked an old trauma, it may be that the scent lingers you off first. And you go, when did that smell start to bother me? So when did this behavior become a problem for me? I had a similar thing happen. My first husband was extraordinarily abusive. And so a very specific behavior, tone of voice, or energy out of a man could trigger a full, fight and flight response. So when did it begin, so that you can start to arrow at that back? And then when you first start believing it, if we go back to, I'd had a piece come up. We were working on a masterclass, a success breakthrough masterclass with two of my coaches, Sarah Connell and Carol Look. Sarah was doing NLP and Carol was doing EFT, emotional freedom tapping. And in there, we were discussing blocks, these fears, these blocks that come up from what we want to succeed in our life, especially we were working on 2025. And when we were working on the block, some blocks, maybe being stuck is keeping you safe. Or maybe it's because the block sees your success as actually the danger. So it may be that we have this other issue come up. And I realized that I had an old memory come forward where when I had been successful in my previous career, every time I hit a success streak, somebody would start spreading rumors about me or badmouth me, and they usually attacked some sort of moral issue. So often women will attack women. It's sad and it disappoints me on a regular basis, but it seems like we believe that there's only so many spots around the table. And so I was working really hard and I had really great mentors. And so one of the ladies I was working with started a rumor, along with others that joined in on it, that I must be sleeping with one of my bosses to have success. And so then later on, that goes away because not true. And then we move forward into a second portion of that, which was some male competitors at another lighting showroom started spreading rumors around that I slept with contractors to get business. And that's why I was so successful. My husband, by the way, is a contractor. So I guess technically true if we're going to talk about one contractor, but this is what my experience was, though subconsciously, is that whenever I was successful, that I was going to be attacked for doing things that I wasn't doing, or saying I was undeserving of this success. I must be doing something immoral. And so there was these pieces that I didn't realize I was holding on to. And it came up just this week. I'd totally forgotten about them. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. That's the fear that's coming forward that's holding me back from really stepping into the next level of my life. So we want to be able to notice what is the fear that we have for showing up. So this fear that people will attack me, that there'll be rumors, that people will badmouth me, my reputation, how that would affect my family, how it would hurt my kids, all of it. And so it all comes into play here. And then feeling like I have to constantly defend myself. So even within that word, defense and offense, attack, predator, prey. So what is sitting there? When did I first start believing this? So then when I started linking back to it, because now I wanted to go in, I'm like, where'd that come from? I start going all the way back. I go, okay, first there's this issue that comes up with these gentlemen that own a lighting showroom. And then I go back and I go, oh yeah, right. There was those coworkers, the staff that did that within my work. And then I was like, wait a minute, let's go back further. And then I saw the same pattern in high school. And I saw the same pattern in elementary school. And then I even saw the same pattern within my home life when I was young. And so that's where I say, when did I first start believing that this was unsafe? Well, I started to really believe it later on, but I had support to that subconscious fear that actually went quite old. And then what proof do I have that this fear is still true today? And that's where we stop, because I got none. So do you have proof? Is this true now? And if your subconscious mind goes, yep, absolutely, still true, unsafe, then go, okay, prove it. Right now, what is it? So maybe it's, I'm afraid of failing. We want to know where the belief came from. So a past mistake or someone telling me I wasn't good enough. And then, so we see where that is. And then, is it proved today? And we want to grab a journal and really write these answers down. Clarity. We want clarity. And so, is this true today? And then we move on to step 3, which is rewriting the story. And so as we're rewriting the story, remember that thoughts are just thoughts and they can be changed. So they're not etched in stone. So we want to be able to reframe them. So instead of, I'm afraid of failing, we don't want to move to I'm not, because that's not truthful. And then subconsciously we might consider ourselves a liar. So instead, what we want to switch to is, I am learning as I go, and failure is just feedback. Or maybe it is, instead of, I'm afraid of failing, maybe it's, although I have a fear of failing, I choose to try anyways. Or maybe it's, I'm choosing to let this fear go. So we have options of what layers we want to make into this. By using language like I choose, we are allowing ourselves to bring in the power of our will so that we can change the experience that's coming through us. So we're bringing in another level of ourself to support this new way of being. The choice of, who do I choose to be today? And that's the question that we really want to be able to ask ourselves every day. Who do I choose to be today? So instead of having, what if I get rejected? We could maybe change it to, the right people will accept me as I am. Or what if I get rejected? Then maybe it's, what if my life is better without them? Because we forget that part is, sometimes when people leave, it's actually because they were holding us back. That was the gift, was them going. If our intentions are good, we're acting from a place of self, we're coming from alignment with our values, and we're moving forward with love and compassion, then when somebody rejects us, that's their healing journey. They might come back later on when they're ready to, or it may be that they need to go so that you can continue forward on the path that you wanted. So consider that. So what new belief will you choose today? So we've written down the old ones. Now, which one do you want to choose instead? What alignment, what belief aligns with who you choose to be? So bravery isn't just doing hard things. It's feeling those fears and doing it anyway. So what aligns, what actions, what beliefs align with who you choose to be? You're the author of your story. You're the author of your life. So who do you want to be? Who do you choose to be? It is an absolute choice. It doesn't feel that way a lot of the time because we have these old fears, these old beliefs that are running our whole lives. Once we're aware of them, we move from subconscious drive to conscious drive. And then we can start shifting more and more and more until we're making our choices versus habitual patterns. So your fears aren't here to stop you. They're just old stories, and they're really waiting to be rewritten. And I think of them as old stories, not just really waiting to be rewritten, but waiting to be released. We can remember them. We can remember that experience in terms of the lessons, but then we can forgive it. We can let it go. We let go of the traumas. Let go of the dramas so that instead we're moving into this new way of being. We take the wisdom, we don't forget, we forgive it, we let it go, and we take that wisdom forward into our life. I was saying in our Facebook group today, if you think of yourself as this beautiful, beautiful channel or river of energy, and we are designed to have a flow of divine energy moving through us all the time. And so you can think of your body as the riverbed and the flow of divine light, of divine energy that flows through you every moment of the day. And a trapped emotion, such as fear, or a trapped belief, an old pattern, they're like little rocks. We think of a trapped emotion as about the size of the fist or an orange, and it gets trapped somewhere within your system. And it's no different than throwing a rock in that river. And we throw rocks in, we start getting little eddies, little ripples. Throw enough of them in, we can start getting dams. And we can have only a trickle of energy getting through instead of this big flush that's supposed to be coming through. And so we can remove those rocks and change the state of the field of energy flowing through our body. We're meant to flow in ease. And every time we have a trapped emotion, trapped belief, they work like these little blocks that create this disruption or dis-ease within the body, whether that's the physical, mental, or emotional body or spiritual body. And so every time that we release one of these things, we forgive, we're taking it out, the wisdom remains, the chaos is gone. And that's what we're looking for as we do this work. You get to decide what's true for you now when we release these things, to no longer be pushed and pulled by past experiences, but to actually choose to become sovereign. It's not a buzzword, it's your birthright. And we become sovereign by letting these pieces go, by finding forgiveness for ourselves. This is what they mean by holding on to resentment, is like swallowing poison, hoping the other will die. We create the chaos within our bodies, not within theirs. This is the importance. If this video helped you, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you don't miss next week's video. We'll be doing 2 a week until we shift over, where we'll start doing 1 YouTube a week. The other one will also still be here, but we'll be beginning a podcast soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you are not already part of it, please join the Awakening Circle on Facebook. It is our private Facebook group, and it is there specifically so that we can have big conversations without fear of other people coming in. So no gremlins in there, no trolls. So a place where we can have deep conversations about healing and empowerment. And I'll throw the link it's in my bio, but I'll also throw it in the description for this video. I hope this was value for you and for your life. And if you think of somebody else that could use it, please share. That's how we gain traction and can keep doing these things. I hope you have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Brightest of blessings.